Today on the Big 3 in 30, the Warriors lose Jimmy Butler for the season.
Jimmy Butler goes down. He's holding his knee.
The Pistons take a 1-point win over the Celtics.
The Pistons win this game 104-103.
And the Thunder take care of the Cavs.
Chet Holmgren stamped his all-star case, and Lou Dort had the perfect night.
This is the Big 3 in 30 NBA. The three biggest stories in the NBA from our local experts at the Locked On Podcast Network. We bring you the real story, why it matters, what's next, who wins the big game, and more, all in 30 minutes. The Big 3 in 30 NBA starts now. Thank you for making the Big 3 in 30 your first listen of the day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. The Warriors picked up a win Monday night, but lost one of their stars in the process. Jimmy Butler suffered a torn ACL that ends his season, and Charlie Walter goes over the impact on Locked On Warriors.
The Warriors are climbing back into contention of not playing in a play-in tournament and being in the playoffs. They're really executing well right now. They're getting ready to potentially make a trade. Like, all things should be excited in Warriors world. Unfortunately, Jimmy Butler goes down. He's holding his knee, extreme pain, and an MRI is really going to determine the severity of this and really the outlook on the rest of the season. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Kolsky. Without Jimmy Butler, what are we doing?
Not much. I mean, yeah, it's this MRI. I mean, we've already got doctors in the comment section saying what I think is probably pretty clear to most people who've watched a lot of basketball, which is that in all likelihood, it's ACL or MCL, sprain or tear. But the distinction between those options are dramatic. You know, if it's an ACL tear, certainly he's done for this season and probably the start of next season. If it's an MCL sprain, maybe he's back in a few weeks, and then you're not quite as worried, especially considering how well some of these role players are playing. So, you know, I don't want to speculate on where in that range it's going to fall because I have no idea, but that's going to make a difference between a team that, like you said, is hot and ready to make a run and at least be a threat in the playoffs, and a team that, gosh, without Jimmy, I don't even know what they are. Are they a play-in team? I'm not sure. I'm not sure they are.
And it's also moving forward. Like, you have him on the books for 58 whatever million it is next year. I would imagine that unless you throw crazy amount of picks to a very stinky team's way, you're not going to be able to get rid of that contract if he's out for the majority of next season. I mean, this thing is it's likely finito. I mean, you got to just kind of think about actually blowing it up at a certain point if that's the case. And call me crazy, Kolsky, but if it's a torn ACL, Jimmy Butler's out for the season, I don't know what else you do. Like, I hate to hit
but
the
what does
panic
that
button
mean?
right then and there.
I mean, I hear you philosophically, right? Like, if the season's done, you know, do what you can before the trade deadline to kind of tank and get whatever assets you can get in return. But if you're
Can I rephrase that? Maybe don't blow it up, but don't give out any draft picks. Let's say that. Don't be irresponsible because you're not going anywhere.
Okay. So if you can get Michael Porter for a first rounder and Jonathan Kuminga and, I don't know, Moses Moody, whatever it is, you're not doing that anymore.
Without Jimmy Butler? Probably not.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting question. Because, you know, I'm not to pick on you, but people use the phrase blow it up, right? And as far as the Warriors are concerned,
something crazy is going to happen here, Kolsky, because
I don't know what that means.
You're going to pull up the comment on the screen of that crazy thing that could happen. Because we've heard for the longest time now that Jonathan Kuminga doesn't fit, right? Because of Jimmy Butler. He does not fit. If Jimmy Butler's out for the season, with an ACL, all of a sudden he fits. I mean,
right. I mean, this is a fascinating question because undeniably they need what he does if Jimmy's not available for an extended period of time. Do not misunderstand me. Jonathan Kuminga is nowhere near. I mean, he's done nothing in this league, basically. And Jimmy Butler's a Hall of Famer. So it's not that they're comparable as players, but, big 3/4 who can get to the free throw line better than most of the people on the team. And at least from a one-on-one perspective, defend some tough perimeter guys and just score. I mean, I don't, but at the same time, the idea of he didn't fit before, but maybe now that Jimmy's gone, that fit has never really been the problem here. Let's be totally honest. The problem is the coach doesn't like him. So I don't think he's going to play still. But if we're watching, I mean, especially with Guy Santos out too, if we're watching 4-guard lineups with Pat Spencer playing 25 minutes a night and the team can't score, I can't understand how anyone looks at that and doesn't think the Warriors look stupid as an organization. So it's a really awkward spot. And hopefully for that and 1,000 other reasons, this is a minor injury, much less than it looked like. But I think we have to be honest that the combination of Steve Kerr's distaste for the player and the front office's insistence on maintaining a certain valuation of the player has put the franchise in a terrible position. Whatever you think of Jonathan Kuminga, the way his whole deal has been handled for 4.5 years now has put not only the player, but the organization in just an absolute garbage situation. And the Warriors have nobody but themselves to blame for that.
Well, you've won 6 of your last 7 at this point, 6-1 on the homestand. This wasn't even a topic that was brought up 48 hours ago because we were talking about Jimmy Butler and we were talking about Curry and we were talking about the team winning games. But now it kind of rears its ugly head, right? When you got a guy sitting on the bench that plays the same exact position, that's still technically on your team, whether he's a verbal trade or not, until he's actually traded, he's still on your team. And now you do kind of need him to a certain degree, or you need him to at least go somewhere else that nets you someone in return that you can have for the future. But if you don't have Jimmy Butler on the team, I think he's an excellent player. I think he was kind of the complementary piece that this team needed to really turn things around last year. And without him, I don't care if you bring in Michael Porter Jr. I don't care if you bring in Grayson Allen. I don't care if you bring in Malik Monk. It's over. You're not winning an NBA championship. You're not competing for an NBA championship. And if you're not doing both those things, you're not giving up first-round assets. If you are, then you're stupid.
Yeah. I mean, I think I probably agree with you. I mean, if Jimmy Butler is really out for the season, and again, we're speculating, but it doesn't seem, nobody's going to be surprised if that's the news. It's hard to imagine any scenario where this turns into a threat in the playoffs. It's just difficult to picture it. So you're probably right. You would not want to sacrifice those assets now because you're going to want to get a look at things in the summer. And, there's always more that you can do in the summer. And no, that doesn't mean you're giving up on the rest of Steph's career. No, but there's just not going to be enough that you can do at the trade deadline. If Butler's out, there's not going to be enough to do. You're not going to be able to trade him, moments after he hurts himself and is out for an extended period of time, especially at his age. You're not going to be able to get enough for Kuminga to not, I mean, we were talking about with Jimmy Butler, they need to get better, right? So that's really all you need to hear. Without Jimmy Butler, there's no opportunity to get better enough to be a legitimate playoff threat. There just isn't.
One thing that would help is if Podziemski keeps playing like he's been playing the last week. He had 24 off the bench tonight. Let's tell you about his performance. Let's talk the good. The win, I know it's overshadowed by an injury, but the Dubs did dominate 135-112 over the Miami Heat. We haven't even gotten into the game. Let's get into that. We'll take your comments on Jimmy Butler. And honestly, everyone, find wood, knock on it. Until the fat lady sings, Jimmy Butler's okay. He was laughing coming off the floor. Him and Buddy Hield, they had a moment that was caught on like the stream of basically Jimmy saying, shut your ass up, as he's down with potentially an ACL tear. They're still having fun with each other. He was laughing, smiling, being helped off the floor. So you hope for the best, but you kind of expect the worst.
The NFL playoffs are rolling along, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a Profit Boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your Profit Boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boost lets you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback, player, coaching. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bet feel that way too. Visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your Profit Boost pack every NFL playoff game day.
Welcome back to the Big 3 in 30 NBA. The Pistons and Celtics could end up as a playoff matchup later in the season, and Detroit picked up a 1-point win in yesterday's back-and-forth matchup with Boston. Kukalil recaps on Locked On Pistons.
The Boston Celtics came into Detroit just like New York did, what was it, a week and a half ago, as the second seed. Everyone watching, I believe the Knicks game also was on national TV as well. Actually, yeah, I know it was. Knicks game on national TV. This game on national TV, on MLK Day. The Pistons are playing in one of the primetime spots. Against now, a week and a half ago, the Knicks were the 2 seed when they came in and got destroyed. Now Boston was walking in as the second seed with the same mentality the Knicks had of, we're coming in and we're actually the best team in the East. We're going to come in and we're going to show that we are better than the Detroit Pistons. We're going to come in and we're going to hand it to them. We're going to get this win. And just like the Knicks, the Boston Celtics failed to do so as the Pistons win this game 104-103. I said this before the game, I believe last few podcasts, this was the game I've been really looking forward to. And I think it absolutely lived up. If you're a Pistons fan, Boston fan, if you're an NBA fan, this game was spectacular. It was extremely physical. There was incredible plays made on both ends of the floor. I thought this was high-level basketball that you were watching, high-intensity basketball. And no matter who you're a fan of, as long as you like basketball, I feel like you should have loved this game. This was a very fun game to watch, very fun game. And the Pistons showcased again, as I've said over and over and over again, and as everyone who's watched this team all year should know, this team's identity is defense. And it doesn't matter how... I don't want to say it doesn't matter. It does matter, but I think you guys get what I'm saying. It does not matter how bad they shoot. Their defense travels, and their defense will be what wins them games. And in this game, they held the Boston Celtics to 103 points. They forced 14 turnovers and scored 19 points off those turnovers. They had 9 blocks in this game. They had 9 steals in this game. And again, I said this with... I forget who it was. I guessed it on their podcast just last week. That I'm drawing a blank. But someone asked me, what is it about the Pistons defense that really makes it so great? And it's the fact that teams can be good defensively by just getting stops, closing out possessions, and getting back down the floor. The Pistons do that, but they also are defensive playmakers. They make plays on the defensive end of the floor. Honestly, a great comparison, a team that just played this past weekend in football, they are like the Texans defense in the NBA version. They score with their defense. They make plays with their defense. They make just as many plays on defense as they do on offense. The Pistons aren't just a a good defensive team that is just sound. They have playmakers, and those playmakers turn easy or playmaking defense into easy offense. 19 points, outscoring the Celtics 19-6 on points off turnovers is absolutely big time. 9 blocks, that all those are momentum changing. They stay in play because Stu, by the way, this is something Stu does a great job of. A lot of his block shots stay in play. They get block shots, and now they're able to run. Now they're getting it in early transition. All of this stuff is playmaking, and it's creating easy looks for the Detroit Pistons. And that's why even when they shoot 17 of 23 from the free throw line, even when they shoot 11 of 35 from the three-point line, even when they shoot just 43% from the field, their defense travels and will continue to win them games. Cade shot 4 of 17 in this game, and it didn't matter. Again, I think you guys get what I'm saying. It did matter. Like, if you would have hit more shots, it wouldn't have been as close. But you guys get what I'm saying. It did not matter. If Cade can shoot 4 of 17 against the second best team in the East, and the Pistons still come away with a win because their defense is that great, what does that tell you? If Cade just has a normal shooting night, this game is not close. And despite Cade not having a good shooting night, I will say 14 assists to 0 turnovers. That is the key stat. 0 turnovers from Cade. Despite not making his shots, he did not turn the ball over, and he did not give the opposing team easy looks in transition. And we've said this in the podcast a few times. I'll say it again. Getting shots on the rim, even when you miss, is good offense for this team because you have great offensive rebounders. You got Asar, you got Jalen Duren, even Cade's a good rebounder for his position. You got Stu, like you got guys that even just getting shots on the rim instead of turning the ball over is good offense for the Pistons because there's like a 40% chance the Pistons are going to rebound it and put it back in. And Cade, despite not hitting his shots, just did not turn the ball over. Not only did he not turn the ball over, the Pistons in general did an absolutely fantastic job of taking care of the basketball. Cade had 0 turnovers. Tobias had 1. Duren had 1. Asar had 1. Stu had 1. Karras, he had 1, but I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know how he didn't have 3. That's all I'm saying. But he only had 1. Ivy had 3. Like to clean that up a little bit. But only one player above 1 turnover. And again, this is going back, I believe, what was the game that we discussed? Oh, the Clippers game when they were playing. I believe that game they played without Cade. Was that game? It was the Clippers game for sure. I remember. I don't think Cade played in that game. I think that was the game we talked about in the podcast. That if you're going to play this like defensive style of basketball and say, look, we're not going to be able to score in the half court. Our guy is out. We're going to have to keep the possessions minimal. We're going to have to keep the possessions down and play defense. What you have to be able to do is then take care of the ball. You can't give extra possessions playing that way. If you do, you'll lose the game, and that's what cost them against the Clippers that game. They turned it over 10 times in that fourth quarter. And then instead, against Boston in this game, they absolutely turned it up on the defensive end of the floor, got out in transition, didn't allow them to score in the half court, and they won the possession battle by not turning the ball over. The Celtics turned the ball over 14 times. The Pistons turned it over only 8 times. And again, they scored 19 points, the Pistons that is, off of those 14 turnovers. The Pistons only allowed 6 points off of their turnovers. They won the possession battle. They kept it clean. They were fantastic defensively. And when they made plays defensively, almost every single time they were scoring off of it. That was just as big of a statement win from the Detroit Pistons as it would have been if they scored 130 points. Because this team is showing everybody. Now, again, if they could just add one shooter, if they could just get one volume 3-point shooter at the 4 position, I'm telling you, I think they go to the finals and they are legit contenders. If they could just get that, that would make this whole situation perfect. That's all they need, I think. But even despite that, what they are showing the NBA world repeatedly on national TV, by the way, is if Cade plays a spectacular game like he did against the Knicks, he can be the best player on the floor, and you're not going to win that game. If Cade's having a bad game, he can't hit shots from the floor, he can take care of the basketball, and he can facilitate like the best in the league. Oh, and along with that, we have the best defense. We'll have the best defense in the NBA. We'll lock you down. We'll turn you over. And even when we can't score in the half court, you won't score in the half court, but the difference is we will score off of your half court offense. What the Pistons have right here is translatable and is able to go on the road, play at home, win under any condition because of how dominant their defense is. It truly is just like the Houston Texans defense in the NFL, or any defense in the NFL. Legion of Boom is just like that, where they talk about, oh, you're going in a cold weather stadium in the playoffs. Will the offense travel? Oh, a high-flying passing offense. Will that travel? What they always say, defense travels. It will go anywhere. You can dominate a team as long as you have great defense. And that's what the Pistons have. They have an absolutely fantastic defense that will travel anywhere, and whether they are if they're hitting shots, they'll blow you out. And if they're not hitting shots, they still probably will win because their defense will keep you from scoring. So much so, even with Jaylen Brown having 32 points, it comes on 28 shots. This team's defense is otherworldly. They have guys on this team that just make defensive plays that I don't think people truly give credit to or fully understand how great. Stu had 2 blocks tonight that were just like, how are you timing that? And how are you making that play? Or 1 block tonight on Keita at the rim. That's just like, how in the world are you making that play? Asar Thompson made a play in that second quarter. I believe it was the second or even the third. I forget which quarter it was. But he made a play in this game from the top of the key where Keita runs they run a pick and roll with Keita on the left wing. Keita slips to the basket. It's wide open. Asar from the top of the key tags down on that roll, leaving Peyton Pritchard at the top of the key wide open, takes away the roll. Derek White notices it, then throws it to Pritchard at the top of the key, which should be an open 3. Asar takes away the roll, recovers back to Pritchard in time to close the distance, and then not only close the distance, but to then make the play on the ball, block it, and then score in transition. It was that is an insane defensive play. And the Pistons have multiple guys that can make crazy plays on any given night on that end. They are the best team in the Eastern Conference, and if they can just add one more shooter, I'm telling you, I like they are championship contenders.
The NFL playoffs are rolling along, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a Profit Boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your Profit Boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boost lets you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play, or coaching. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bet feel that way too. Visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your Profit Boost pack every NFL playoff game day.
Welcome back to the Big 3 and 30 NBA. The Thunder dominated the fourth quarter of a win over the Cavs, outscoring Cleveland by 20 points in the final period to take a 32-point win. Ryland Stiles tells us more on Locked On Thunder.
The Thunder pulled off an impressive win. Chet Holmgren stamped his all-star case, and Lou Dort had the perfect night, but the injuries continue to pile up for Oklahoma City. They entered this game with no Isaiah Hartenstein, with no J-Dub. Jay Will and Caruso each leave this game in the first half as well, putting the Thunder behind the 8 ball when it comes to injuries. For Cleveland, no Darius Garland, no Sam Merrill, no Max Strus for the Cavs. That, of course, a big deal for them. The Thunder finish off this 5-game stint all against above 500 teams, 4-1 with this win over Cleveland. Before the game today, the Thunder did officially put out the report on J-Dub. Justin Martinez of the Oklahoman, who's in Cleveland, got the report from Thunder PR that they will look at and see where J-Dub's hamstring strain is at in a couple of weeks. So it'll be weeks, not days. And that, again, is just to look at his hamstring in a couple of weeks. So you can imagine that would likely be a reevaluation date for J-Dub, not a return date for J-Dub. But we'll see how the Thunder navigate through this. This is his 20th game missed. It's iHeart's 20th game missed of the season as well today. And now there's questions about, what Jay Will and Caruso will look like moving forward as the Thunder wrap up this road trip in Milwaukee on Wednesday. But the Thunder start this game out hot, 8 for 9 from the floor. Shea was in attack mode early. Another fast start for him after a fast start in Miami. And when you look at it, the Thunder start out 3 for 9 from three. They're missing wide open looks, and both teams could not stop turning the ball over. Cleveland could not hit water out of a boat, going 2 for 9 from three. Midway through the second frame, you look up and they're not shooting the ball well. But eventually this game stabilized for Oklahoma City. And I thought that one of the biggest ways that it stabilized was the bench minutes and the non-Shea minutes. The Thunder take the lead from 5 to 7, and Shea gets back into the game with a 6-point lead himself. Look, that is treading water. But when you factor in that this team is down J-Dub, who is their go-to guy in this scenario, they're down Isaiah Hartenstein, who is a connective playmaker, a play finisher at the rim, a creator as a passer to get open looks as a high post playmaker. To tread water for 3 straight halves, because you did it twice in Miami and then the first half of this game, that's a big win for OKC. That's exactly what you need. And it's the formula, because whenever Shea checks back in, you trust this team to go on a run. That's exactly what they did. To end the first half, they get this lead to 15 points. The Thunder defense came alive. They were just out-efforting. They were out-executing Cleveland in the closing moments of that second frame. The 6-0 run by OKC got them up from 6 to 15, from 15 to 20, because of the way that the Thunder kept forcing turnovers. And that embodied what I think was the difference tonight. This was a matinee road game, one of the tougher formats to win in the NBA during the regular season. And you're facing a team in Cleveland who should have been the more desperate team, who should have been the hungrier team. And we've seen over the last 3 weeks, that's been a talking point for OKC. Can they match the other team's intensity? Can they do it with the target on their back? And while the season has, stabled itself a bit, over the last couple of weeks, they're 7-3 heading into this game in their last 10 games. That was still a question. But Cleveland tonight just got rocked in the mouth by the Thunder, and the Thunder never let them off the ropes. That was a great job by OKC. The execution in the first half, and then Cleveland tried to go on a run. The Thunder, settled for a couple threes, and it wasn't necessarily that they settled for them. They kind of rushed into the threes. There were quality looks, but early in the shot clock, we wanted to see them kind of work some more offense, considering how they were able to do it in the first half against Cleveland. But quickly, as we know, those threes started to fall for OKC in a big way. But during that stretch, it was a 6-0 run for Cleveland. The Thunder call a timeout after the 7-0 run for Cleveland extends to a 9-0 run for Cleveland at the end of the day. But Cleveland tried to stay in it by their presence on the glass. The second half, they really got a stronghold there on the boards and in second chance opportunities, which is to be expected. Like, this is a massive Cleveland lineup against the Thunder team that was just simply running out of bodies. We talk about how important iHeart is in this category. Well, now you've taken away iHeart. You've taken away their second big man, behind iHeart. You've taken away their best small ball options in J-Dub and Caruso, and Brandon Carlson, who I don't think would have helped necessarily, but he was in street clothes as well as he battles with that 2-way game limit. And the Thunder, at the end of the day, get the third quarter to about a 10-point cushion to start the fourth, where Shea goes on the bench. And then once again, for the fourth straight opportunity, you've seen the Thunder take care of business with Shea on the bench. And that's been the difference in being able to get these blowout wins, like the blowout win against Miami, against San Antonio, against Houston, tonight against Cleveland. It's been about the Thunder not just surviving the non-Shea minutes, but extending this lead. In the fourth quarter, they parlayed this about 10-point cushion to 17 by the time that Shea checks back in. The Thunder outright dominate the final frame. They close both halves extremely strong, as we talked about, and that's what you have to do to win. At that point, the talent takes over. At that point, the rosters take over. The Thunder have the best roster in the NBA. Just 3 lead changes in this one. One time the game was tied. The Thunder got up by as many as 32 points. Cleveland only grew a 2-point advantage, despite having a plus 11 advantage on the glass, and despite dominating second chance points 22-5, although while it's not a Thunder strong suit in general, it also helps when you rarely miss, that you're not going to get a ton of second chance opportunities, as OKC rarely missed tonight. The Thunder made up for that rebounding disadvantage by being a +10 in the turnover battle, forcing 21 giveaways from Cleveland. OKC lost points in the paint 48-42, but made up for that with the great equalizer, which is the three-point shot. The Thunder in this game shot 55% from the floor, 49% from three, just 65% at the charity stripe. Got to clean that up. They're free. Got to relax at the line, as an old philosopher would say. Cleveland shot a dreaded 37% from the floor, 23% from three, 80% at the free throw line, but just a brutal showing. They were turning the ball over left and right. It was an uninspired effort offensively. Just a lot of bad shots, a lot of turnovers, and a lot of just meh from Cleveland. And the Thunder finish out this 5-game stint against above 500 teams, 4-1, by taking it to Cleveland. And then individually, what allowed the Thunder to get to shooting 55% from the floor, 49% from three, 65% at the charity stripe. Yes, that included was Chet Holmgren stamping his all-star case, was Lou Dort playing the perfect Lou Dort game. You don't want to see anything more, anything less from Lou Dort. That was the perfect game from him. SGA, I thought, had a really good control and a really good attention to detail to help his team get this win. But it strains all the way down to like Isaiah Joe had a massive one. Aaron Wiggins walked the line perfectly of trying to recreate a little bit of what J-Dub does. And of course, nobody can fully recreate it, but J-Dub left that role a little bit to Wiggins, who has got the start tonight and tried to be a little combination of a play finisher and a creator, similar to the vein that of J-Dub.
That's all for today's Big 3 in 30 NBA. If you follow football or college sports, the Big 3 in 30 has shows for the biggest news in the NFL and on campus going up every weekday just like this one. Just search the Big 3 in 30 NFL or the Big 3 in 30 college wherever you're listening or watching now. Thanks again for tuning in to the Big 3 in 30 NBA.